Today I'm also going to talk to you guys about protein needs and the timing of protein. Um, as I mentioned in the previous video, nutrition is extremely important when it comes to strength training and getting a good result from your strength training. And a lot of that comes down to meeting the nutrition needs adequately, but also timing that nutrition well. So this video is going to kind of help you with some of those timing issues and the required amounts of what your body needs with regards to protein. Okay, so if you are a non-athletic population, so if you're just going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week, trying to stay active but mostly staying at a novice lifting level, or if you're primarily just doing cardiovascular training, or if you're not doing any sort of exercise at all, you need about 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And again, as I mentioned in the last video, that's kilograms, not pounds. Okay. Additional amounts of protein above that level really don't serve any additional benefit for a non-athletic population. So if you're non-athletic and you're doing about 0.8 grams per kilogram body weight, then you are adequately satisfying your need. And most people, even in a non-athletic population, are still meeting that need anyway. So we don't really have too many issues with that. If you're an endurance athlete or a strength training athlete, you are going to need significantly more. You're going to need about 1.2 to 1.7 grams per kilogram of body weight. Okay. The reason for the endurance athlete is because they're going to use some of that protein for energy. Because their workouts are so long, they're going to have burned through a lot of their glycogen stores. So they're going to use that protein for energy. And also they're going to need it for the repair because they've done such a long bout of exercise. They've created quite a bit of damage at the cellular level, and so they're going to need it for repair. And then strength athletes are going to use all that protein for repair. They're not going to use any of it for energy if they have adequate nutrition. And then what's interesting is that most athletes are actually going to overconsume on their protein levels. The food that we eat in this country, we tend to not have any protein deficiencies. And in fact, most athletes are ingesting about 3 to 5 grams per kilogram body weight, which is way too much. And the sad thing is your body can't use that extra protein for anabolic purposes. It really can't. It ends up just kind of getting wasted in the form of urea that comes out in your urine. Could put your kidneys at danger. There's no real clinical backing for that. There's no study that's going to show that the kidneys are going to be affected. But if you have kidney issues, it is something to watch out for because that excess urea does put extra strain on the kidneys. When it comes to dosing your protein supplementation, it's important to yield the maximum results. So whether you use a supplement or whether you use food, which both are about equal, it is important to yield the maximum result you can, so timing becomes a really, really big issue. According to a study that one of the ACSM articles from their Health and Fitness Journal, and the article was in the September-October of 2013 issue, so it's a very recent study, very recent journal article that referenced the study. They found that about 20 grams of protein, especially if it's going to be a supplement, it needs to be whey, taken every 3 hours after exercise, so taken immediately after, and then continuing on for 3 hours afterwards, yields the best results with regards to myofibrillar protein synthesis. What that means is protein synthesis at the myofibril level, which is basically down to the muscle cells themselves. All right. So at the cellular level, the protein synthesis is happening at the most efficient way it can. It's happening at a rate and at a degree that you cannot get if you dose your protein differently. So actually dosing it more at a greater amount and doing it over a longer period of time is not as effective. They say 20 grams taken right after exercise. If it's going to be a supplement, make sure it's whey. And if it's food, you really want to actually go with like milk because milk is very similar to whey chemically. But then you take it every 3 hours after exercise. By modulating this distribution, it allows the body to get its maximum benefit from the protein with regards to anabolism, which is really the building of muscle. If you want to be anabolic, you really have to make sure you're getting the maximum benefit from protein synthesis because your protein catabolism and muscle catabolism is going to be faster than anabolism. So you need to stay ahead of the curve with regards to your nutrition. The study found that the timing was really, really important. It was almost crucial to the enhancement of this protein synthesis. Without that timing structure, things did not happen as effectively. And we also see that it really only requires about 20 grams every 3 hours, which is most people in the supplement industry and most people that are in the bodybuilding community are going to recommend a lot more than that. But really, that was all that was needed, no matter who was taking the supplement, no matter whether they were advanced athletes or whether they were novices. It was pretty much about the same. So it doesn't take necessarily as much protein as people think. And this result that from the dosing of protein was also seen in older men. Older men found that when they dosed protein that way, they had a very similar effect on myofibrillar protein synthesis, which is very important because as we get older, protein synthesis tends to slow down, and we actually will tend to lose muscle easier than we gain it. And that actually happens at any age, but it gets increased as we get older. So it's very important and very interesting to note that older men had the exact same result. And again, as I mentioned in my past video, whey protein is great. They found that it was very effective in this process, but also they said that food-based protein should be the first choice for athletes, especially since most food sources have that protein in a sufficient amount. And they also found that milk had a better protein synthesis than the whey supplement did. It actually was more effective than the whey supplement at getting that protein synthesis moving. And so, and it's also much cheaper than some of these protein supplements. If a client or an athlete would like to still use their protein supplement, then what you can do is you can have them dose it in half and then mix it with milk, and that will make up for that extra protein deficiency. And so that's kind of some of the ways in which you really want to time out your protein recovery and your post-meals, your post-workout meals, I should say, not your post-meals, your post-workout meals. It's very important to stick to that if you really want to get the best result from your strength training program, which results can come in many different ways. It can come with how much you can lift, how long you can do a certain exercise, but it also comes down to the size of your muscle, and that's kind of what we're talking about here. We're talking about hypertrophy. And to get that hypertrophy, it's very, very crucial that you stick to these dosing guidelines because they've been clinically proven. It's not just, oh, I did this and it worked for me, which is not a scientific statement. This science backs this method of protein dosing. So I hope this helps. Again, any questions, you can feel free to message me on my Facebook page or send a form in through my website, which if you don't know what that is, that's www.befitfresno.com. A lot of good information on there, especially if you're interested in training. It has a lot of good information and some client testimonials so you can kind of see what it's like to train with me. I hope this helps, and until the next time, I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.